All right, so this is a guy on games. That's the series I do. I haven't done one of these in forever, so this will probably be 30 redone or whatever. Because the last one I did was for Dead Space, like the whole franchise, and I put like a bunch of work into it.
4 hours later.
And like I put a ton of work into it. It was like power outages and crap I had to deal with.
Yeah.
And when I finally uploaded it, it wouldn't upload like I wanted it to. Like the pictures would like fly through in like 1 second through like 8 pictures that I'm explaining, and then it would just show me like paused. So I didn't bother uploading the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I guess this will be 30 still, but it'll be a whole new game. And this is for the X-Men Legends games. So X-Men Legends 1 and 2 on GameCube.
Yep.
They're
Also
only
on
for
PlayStation, I
They're on
think.
PlayStation. I think the first one was only on GameCube though.
I think no. I had the first one on PlayStation 2. I think it was PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, probably. I don't know though. I think that one of the GameCube, I think the GameCube version had extra characters or something like that. But yeah.
I did not know that. Well, for this one, as you can see, I have a partner. This is Walter.
Hi guys.
So I don't know if I'll ever be doing that again, but I had the chance, so that's someone else's point of view. And we're doing, like I said, X-Men Legends. The first one, I remember when I got it, it was probably one of the best, like, sort of beat 'em up type of games I played.
Yeah.
And of course, like, I love X-Men, so of course
Same.
I got it just like with the later Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, because like,
Yeah.
I love the characters.
Yeah.
So I love X-Men, so it's like, why not get this game that has like a ton of X-Men characters in it?
Yeah.
You know, all the classic characters plus a lot of other ones. One of the things I enjoyed was the story. I don't know if you remember the character. It was Magma,
Magma, yes.
and
yes,
she was
yes,
like
Magma.
the main focus was her becoming, you know, an X-Man, and you basically play it as her when you're not doing a specific mission. And I enjoyed that because it was like her getting to know all the X-Men and things like that. So you get all the information of the universe,
Yeah.
and they had like all the trivia things, and you could like if you get it right, you get
You
experience
get bonus
points and stuff.
XP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really simple. It was the same thing every time. So if you got it wrong, you just start over,
Yep.
and you can just know the answer. You know, like phobias and all types of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that. Her powers were cool too. Like
Yeah. She's
Bob and all
actually
that
in the
stuff.
comics as well. I think she's New Mutants. You can't. You shouldn't quote me on that. I've read a bit of X-Men, but yeah, I'm trying to. What were the characters in the first one? Is Wolverine?
It was pretty much the classic X-Men
Yeah,
group with
Wolverine,
Wolverine,
Cyclops,
Cyclops, Storm, Jean,
Jean.
Beast, Professor X was in it.
Yeah, Beast was in that. Beast wasn't playable in the second one, but Beast was in the
I
second
thought he
one.
was.
No,
He was only
that was
playable in
Age
the
of
first one.
Apocalypse. Yeah.
No, that is the second one.
Age of
Age of
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse is the second one.
What's the first one? Then?
It's just X-Men Legends. It's just
Yeah.
That's it.
The
So
first
he's
one's
not
X-Men
playable.
Legends.
in that one.
He's not playable in the second one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because he's dark. Well, they did a Dark Beast thing, but I think he's playable in the first. Is Nightcrawler playable in the first? I know he's playable in the second.
I think so.
Maybe I forget. We should
Yeah, like
I should
that.
probably have done some. I probably let me see.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it really matters.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
you can, I mean,
Yeah.
of course, but I just remember, like all the characters that were in it. Like you said, they did have a lot of characters that you couldn't play as, which they did pretty much rectify into. You could pretty much be anybody you wanted.
Yeah, it could be
But,
a lot of characters.
The first one, I liked how it started. It's pretty simple. It starts off like you play. I think it starts off right in the mission, and so you play as it's Wolverine, Cyclops, probably Storm and Jean, the classic group. And then they had, you could combine the powers and stuff, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And like Cyclops, if he would shoot at Wolverine, when he would reflect it
if
with
you
adamantium, and it was
do
kind of like a
like-
spray thing.
That was in.
They had that in Ultimate Alliance too.
They had that
I think they
in
had
the
that in like
second-
all the games actually, because it was like a basic one. Because
Yeah.
he would just reflect it, so it would kind of just shoot off and kill
Yeah,
everybody.
because in X-Men or in Ultimate Alliance 2, every character had another special attack that they could do with another character, right? Specifically, And they did have special ones, like, I do remember that the flying characters could actually physically pick up the characters that couldn't fly and carry them around, and that was what I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I think that I don't think it was in the first X-Men Legends. I know they had it in like Ultimate Alliance, and I know they had it in X-Men Legends too because Juggernaut, because you could play as the
You can play
Brotherhood,
as, yeah,
which
Brotherhood,
I thought that was an amazing addition to the game. Like the first one, I really enjoyed, and then the second one, it was like like the first one ends and you beat the main villain. Who I can't remember who that was, but then it was
I
like
can't remember it. I think it was like a sentinel, a giant sentinel maybe, I don't know.
I don't think it was because I remember it ends in space,
Yeah, it does end in space.
but I don't think it was a Sentinel.
Okay.
But yeah, like it ends and then it's like Apocalypse, so it's like a cliffhanger, and then the second one comes out, and Apocalypse is coming to do what he does every time he's there, is kill everybody.
Yeah.
And so like they do in the comics and in the cartoons, the X-Men and the Brotherhood, they team up, so you could play as all the Brotherhood characters. But not all of them. They had
quite a few. They had Magneto, they had Toad, they had Juggernaut. You couldn't play as Mystique. Mystique was there on your team, so was Sabretooth, but you couldn't play as them.
I don't think you could beat Quicksilver either. I think it was
You could be Scarlet Witch though.
Okay.
You could be
So I think it
Scarlet
was
Witch.
just those four actually.
I think so. I think. And then I think
Then they just added more
Easter egg,
characters.
the special character in the second one was Iron Man. If you got all the pieces of the armor at every level, or every act had a piece of armor, and if you got every piece of armor, and then you found the beacon to where Tony Stark was being held, you could play as Iron Man.
I never knew that. That's pretty cool.
So he plays very similar to Iron Man in the first Ultimate Alliance game, because that was when they had like the same engine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I remember I think I used Toad most out of all the Brotherhood.
Okay. I think I used Juggernaut.
I might have used Juggernaut too.
Yeah.
I think I would have like the same team all the time. I think it was, for the second one, it was Toad, Wolverine, maybe Iceman,
Yeah.
and like somebody else.
Okay. Well, I like to switch it up, but I'd always have one person that had like the leadership attribute. I'd have one person that was like big and strong like a brawler.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have one person that, or not a brawler, like a tank character, then a brawler, and then someone that had range powers. So it was like, most of the time it was Wolverine, maybe Nightcrawler. I used Wolverine all the time though.
Me too.
And then Juggernaut or Colossus.
Yeah, okay. I remember Colossus being in the first one too.
Colossus was in the
And
first
something
one.
that was always weird to me was how they said his name. It was like a long S, so like Colossus. Like every time, I don't know why that like stuck in my head forever, but it did.
Yeah. And okay, Psylocke was in the first game playable, but I don't think she was playable in the second one.
One thing I didn't like was that they took out Magnum for the second game because she was the main character for the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, like I said, I still enjoyed the game for what it was,
Yeah.
it just seemed weird. Like she wasn't even like an off character, like you couldn't play as her anymore. She just wasn't even in the game anymore.
Yeah.
But they had, like, I like that they had a ton of characters because I remember one character, Sunfire. Like I'd never heard of him before.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
he
I
was
played
a cool
Sunfire
character.
all the time.
Yeah, like he was a cool character in the game.
His Age of Apocalypse costume. That's the other thing. The X-Men Legends and the first Ultimate Alliance had so many costumes.
Yeah, both.
Each
Yeah,
character
both of
had
them
4
did.
costumes, and most of them were from the comics.
Like I enjoyed that.
So-
Like all the characters you could have, like Wolverine, Jean, Iceman, and Beast or Cyclops, and you could have them all in their like
Age of
original,
Apocalypse.
like classic
Oh, yeah.
yellow and blue,
Original,
when like Beast was
yeah.
human. And if I remember right,
didn't have a original one.
well, yeah, his was just the same actually.
Yeah.
But if I remember right, when you did that, didn't you get
Yeah, you
bonuses?
got bonuses.
Yeah,
Like, I think
and which they carried over to
the
Ultimate Alliance.
original ones, I think Beast had one, right, where he's
Yeah,
human.
Beast is when he's still human.
Iceman looks like a
it's like-
Sandman.
Yeah, and he has like the boots in that one.
Yeah.
And then Jean, Cyclops, and Storm is just a different costume pretty much.
Storm doesn't have an original one though. Like the original X-Men were
It was, but
Cyclops, Iceman, Beast, Archangel at the time, and then Jean Grey. So Storm does have older costumes,
not that old.
but not that old. Like they had like 50s costumes.
Yeah, but
So-
those were cool. I enjoyed. I remember. I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one. I'm pretty sure it was the second one. But
Mhm.
when you could play as Professor X in like the astral plane, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you could Professor X as a character in one of them, like just
I think
Jean.
I think it's the second one. I think
I
you have to
think
do
it's the
something
second one.
specific though,
Yeah.
because it wasn't like you unlocked him right after. I think you
No.
had to do something to have him through the whole game.
Maybe it was you beat the game and you got something
I
like
don't
that.
know. I think it was like you had to beat on hard maybe.
Yeah.
Because I think I beat it. I don't remember having him the whole time, but I remember playing that. That was probably one of the hardest parts of that game because you really only get to play as him by himself for most of that, and you have to like save Jean in the astral plane, and he's like super powerful because it's like the middle of the game.
That
So-
must have been the first one.
I think yeah, it might have been the first one,
To save Jean in the astral.
but you get like super powerful because you start like right in the middle. You place him in the middle, so it's after you've played like hours with other characters, and
Yeah.
whenever you switch to a new character, and I always love when games do that.
Experience,
When you have like you just like all right, I want to play somebody new.
Yeah.
You don't have to start from scratch. You automatically start off with like the 40 points or whatever,
Yeah.
and you can be like, all right, this looks cool, and you can just boost them up, and they'll be even with whoever you've been using for
Yeah,
like
relative.
3
I
hours
think,
or whatever.
Like if you use the same 4 characters the entire game, they'll be at a higher level. But
Yeah.
like once they hit like 45, everyone else is like automatically 40 or something like that. They scale up.
Yeah,
So that's
that
good.
was cool, and
Yeah.
like you said, the costumes were always pretty sweet because
Wolverine,
people-
most characters, if they were in the Age of Apocalypse, had an Age of Apocalypse costume. I think all of them did. Deadpool's in the second one. He plays Deadpool. Bishop's in there.
I think Cable's in the first one or second one. I think Cable's
Cable,
in the
like
first
I
one.
think that's the thing. I think if you got the GameCube version, which might have came out later, you got extra characters, and I think Cable was one of them. Or like maybe a handheld. I think the PSP and maybe the GameCube had extra characters. Cable, other ones maybe I don't remember, but I feel like that was extra. But
people.
Cable's DLC and the newer one, Ultimate Alliance 2, as well. Cable.
Someone they took out was Blob, because Blob isn't into, at least not as a playable character. I know he's not.
No, no.
But I definitely thought it was a pretty cool game.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it was a very cool game. Blob is into, you meet him on a mission though.
Yeah.
Like he's, I don't know if you remember, like they're in an underground level and Blob's holding something against the wall, and you have to free him from that so he can get out.
I think I remember
Yeah.
that a little bit.
Yeah, that was a fun game.
We could probably do Ultimate Alliance too, really, since the
Yeah.
show's similar.
They are similar.
I guess X-Men,
In
Legends,
that
and
one,
Ultimate. I
yeah,
never played the second one. I had the first one because it was one of the launch titles for Xbox.
yeah,
So when it came out, it was like that and Forza Motorsport on the same disc.
okay,
And I played Ultimate Alliance like crazy.
yeah,
One of the things I did enjoy was
Yeah.
the fact that it wasn't just simple to get characters because you could unlock a ton of people
yeah,
in like the craziest ways. Like I remember I got Blade from like a giant like toy machine or whatever.
Yeah.
Where you get like stuff in the little plastic containers. He
Yeah.
was like in one of those. He was trapped or whatever.
yeah. Like
And I got him
you
on
meet
Blade.
characters along
Yeah.
the way instead of having like a huge pool of characters from the beginning.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool because you can miss a ton. Like I missed a lot of people
Yeah, I
the
did.
first playthrough,
I did too.
and it was pretty sweet that you could just do that. And I really enjoy. Like it is a really cool game, and you could just like it was the first game that was like that. Like they had X-Men Legends 1 and 2, but then this was like those games combined with everybody else.
Yeah.
Like minus a couple of the X-Men characters because they
Well,
didn't have like the Brotherhood. and
Yeah,
stuff.
well, they didn't have. They kept like
The basics.
some of the basic ones, but yeah, they replaced them with. And also, in terms of unlocking costumes, you had to play as a character,
A
like
certain amount of
actually
time.
control the character for a certain amount of time. But Spider-Man had in that game, he had of course the classic Spider-Man costume. He had the Venom suit. He had Stark armor, and I think he had the Scarlet
And-
Spider, which was like his clone, Ben Riley.
I didn't know he had that in the first one.
I think
Is it in the first one?
Mm-hmm. Because I think
Iron Spider.
there
Yeah, that's
are
probably
those-
around the time they introduced it. Yeah.
yeah,
Iron
and
Spider.
Thor had like my favorite Thor costume where Thor has a beard and he has like all the. It's a much more elaborate costume and I like it a little bit better. But yeah, Captain America's costumes weren't as fun though. But he doesn't have as many cool costumes as the other ones. But costumes were definitely one of my favorite parts as someone who reads comics and can kind of identify some of the costumes for some of the characters. That was really cool. But
I kind of like that about Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Actually.
That's
That was
true.
one of my favorite things because they
That's
have all
true.
the different costumes from different times, especially
But
Captain
the
America.
color schemes. Well, yeah, because some of them work a little bit better. Like Wolverine's costumes are actually very similar to the ones he has in the comics because his costume really doesn't change that much besides
Yeah.
color. So like the difference between his normal costume and his Weapon X,
Is literally just colors. Yeah.
just colors almost, yeah, just colors and red eyes. So
I
yeah.
remember Captain America's was different.
mhm.
His shield, well, only in one, and it was his original outfit, and he actually has like
Yeah, he has
the
the
spiky
the
shield.
spiky
yeah.
shield, which yeah
Which I thought
is
was
a
cool.
DLC costume I think in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and is a costume in Ultimate Alliance,
Yeah.
right, or something like that.
Well, it's a costume in Ultimate vs. Capcom. It's not DLC. It's just a regular one.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know they have a lot of the alternate costumes where they change stuff, but that one, I think his alternate costume
Yeah.
that you can buy for DLC is him without the mask.
It's
It's
the newer
important.
version. Well, when he came back, because I think that Bucky, who's going to be in the new Captain America
the
movie,
Winter
Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
took over the mantle of Captain America after he was killed in the comics. But then when he came back, Bucky was still maybe Captain America for a while.
Mhm.
So he was Steve Rogers without the mask on, and he had his original shield instead of the circular vibranium or adamantium alloy shield that he uses. That's famous. But,
You said you played the second Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
What was the story in that one?
Oh, okay, so there's this comic event in Marvel called Civil War, where
I know, yeah.
okay, so
So
it's
that was the
basically the heroes are split between a team that wants to keep heroes anonymous and they don't want to necessarily have as much accountability, or that's kind of painting. That's so basically one side believes that things are great the way they are in terms of heroes can work anonymously. The other team feels like heroes aren't accountable for what they do, so they want a registration program. So in the game, you either choose to be on Iron Man's side or Captain America's side. And Iron Man's pro-registration, Captain America's anti-registration, and then the story
That's really
unfolds.
surprising. I would
Yeah.
think, of all people, Captain America would be.
Yeah, no, he's anti-registration. But the cool thing about it is that depending on which side you choose, you actually the build of your characters changes. Like the talents that you can put points into, you have certain ones that are pro-registration, certain ones that are anti-registration. It also changes the bosses because in the game you're fighting actual heroes.
Yeah.
So like at one point you either fight Bishop or Cable, or you fight, I think, Goliath or Yellow Jacket or something like that. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And instead of having like every character would have that one, or I think they had 2 triangle attacks, and the triangle attacks were their big, huge ones where you actually had to save up, like I think in X-Men little X's or in Avengers, I don't remember what tokens you had to save up to actually use them. But in this game, you basically, depending on your character makeup, you will team up with another character on your team and do something. Like, let's say, if you're using someone with a beam power like Iron Man, someone like Captain America will diffuse like a beam, like the character will shoot a beam at Captain America. He'll diffuse it and hit people around or targets around him. Or like the Invisible Woman will put an invisible force field around like a really big person like the Thing or the Hulk. And like he'll just run around in a hamster wheel, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah. But there weren't as many costumes in that one. I'm hung up on the costumes. I like costumes. But other than that, the story's pretty good. So,
I like Civil War. I always wanted to get the comics
Yeah.
for Civil War,
Mhm.
but they cost so much.
They do
Mostly
cost
because
money.
it's not like Civil War. Here it is. It's like every comic,
Yeah.
like all comics.
Well,
You know,
that's
if
the way that
if a
comics
big
work,
if a big
yeah.
thing starts, every specific
Yeah. You have
franchise
the main
has its own
story,
point. Yeah.
which is split between, if you're actually buying the comics as they come out, split between all the different actual titles, and then each title will have their own Civil War. Like, so there's Civil War is Iron Man, Civil War, X-Men, which aren't even really in that Civil War that much as a group. Some of them are specific ones. Spider-Man would have one, and then they like
Is that Spider-Man came out during Civil War? I remember that.
Yeah, well, okay. I think Peter Parker was one of the few people that actually changed sides. He was originally pro-registration, and that's where that red and gold suit comes from.
Yeah,
That's one that Tony Stark made for him. But then eventually he switches sides and goes to Captain America's. And Captain America's team is the underground team. For the most part, the U.S. government supports Tony Stark's team, and that's where, in the New Avengers, they split between the Mighty Avengers and I think they were still called the New Avengers, or maybe it was the Secret Avengers. I can't remember. But the Mighty Avengers followed Iron Man's team, and the other title followed the other team, which was like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, maybe Spider-Woman, but that team. So, yeah. But it was pretty cool. I don't know which one my favorite. I'd probably say two, just because I'm an X-Men fan above everything else. So I really like the X-Men characters.
So X-Men Legends
we're
too.
good. Yeah, X-Men Legends too.
Well, like I said, I only played 1, 2, and the first Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
But I'd probably play X-Men Legends too.
Really?
Just because I think I like the story so much because they added the Brotherhood, so it
Yeah.
added
Yeah.
there's like a whole new dynamic to
Yeah.
the fighting system
Well,
and just the characters.
Actually, in the Age of Apocalypse comic books, the reason it happened was because Professor X had a son named Legion who had, I don't know exactly what his power set was, but he was able to go back in time, and he tried to kill Magneto because that's what he thought his father wanted, but he actually ended up killing Professor X. So an Apocalypse came, instead of having a storyline which is kind of similar to the way it plays out in the old 90s cartoon, Apocalypse actually takes over the Earth, and the X-Men are like the resistance force, and it's actually led by Magneto, who promised to kind of take up Professor X's ideals when he died. So that's kind of interesting. So
There you go. X-Men Legends 1 and 2, and Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, since they're all really similar as far as fighting styles going.
yeah, they might have had the same developers up to a certain point as well. I think
Yeah, I
Raven
think so.
Software did
Probably.
1, 2, and I'd imagine they did Ultimate Alliance, unless somebody bought the gaming engine off of them. Oh, I'm sorry, this is yours. Oh, okay. I didn't even realize. I'll go over there.
That's okay. Alright, well, yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Like I said, episode, 30 redone or something complete, I guess. But thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll start this up again. I don't know. Like I said, might have partners try to come in. That would be cool to have multiple aspects and things like that. But thanks for watching.
Bye.